So connected to the previous video, we were discussing framework of analysis. Continuation of that part. Let us discuss how we can analyze the non-recursive algorithm mathematically. Okay, we will take 3 examples and we will see how the general plan what we have discussed will fit for analyzing the non-recursive algorithms. So the first example, let us take finding the maximum element in the array. Say there is an array, we need to find the maximum element. How we can do that? So for example, here there is an array. How we can do this? What we can do is, these are the array indices. We can consider the first element as max element. As in this case, we can consider the first element as max element. Then compare this element with the next element. If that element is greater than the already assigned max element, then that will become the max element. So this is the pseudocode for algorithm. So what we are doing is we have assigned the first element of the array to one temporary variable, that is max value. Okay, then for I is equal to 1 to n minus 1, that is from the second element to the last element, what we are comparing is the present max element with the a of I. If a of I is greater than the max element, then we are assigning that a of I to max element. Otherwise we are not doing anything, we are just incrementing the I. At the end we are going to return the max element. Say for example here, initially max element is 10. Then for I is equal to 1, that is now a of I is pointing to 20. Whether 20 is it greater than the present max element, that is 10? Yes. So max element is assigned to 20. Then again I is incremented. Then say let us take this as 5. Okay, now a of I is pointing to the second element. Okay, that is 50. 50 is it greater than the present max element, that is 20? Yes. So max value is assigned 50. Again I is incremented and now a of I is pointing to 5. 5 is not greater than the present max element, that is 5. So this statement will not be executed and I will be incremented. Now a of I is pointing to this element. Again this element is not greater than the present max element. So max element will remain as 50 and of course the maximum element in the given array is 50. So here if we want to analyze how efficient this algorithm is, in the previous framework we had considered that we need to consider the size of the input. By default here the input we have given is an array. So the number of elements in the array or the list itself is the size of the input. So first point is we need to consider the size of the input. Here n indicates the number of elements, n indicates the size of the array. Then the second one is we need to find the basic operation. What are the operations here? There are 2 operations in this loop. This one is assignment and another one is comparison. Which can be considered as basic operation because that basic operation should be executed maximum number of times. This assignment will be executed only when this if statement is true, but this comparison will be executed for every I in this for loop. So we can consider this comparison as the basic operation of this algorithm. Okay, the third point is we need to set up a sum. That is, we need to find the order of growth. How we can find the order of growth of basic operations count is, say here, the comparison, the number of times this comparison is going to happen is for every I from 1 to n, it is going to be executed 1 time. So it will be executed 1 time for every I from I is equal to 1 to n minus 1. So we can set up a sum like this. So it will be executed one time. So this is of the form summation from UPL1. So this will be n minus 1, u minus l, that is the lower limit, u minus l plus 1. If we apply that, then this one cancels. So this will be executed n minus 1 number of times. See that the number of comparisons are going to happen n minus 1 number of times. So we can say that this belongs to, say, big O of n. Big O of n, because n minus 1 is in the order of n. Okay, this seems to be very simple. This is how we have to process. See that we need not to go for worst case, best case, average case efficiency, because the number of times the basic operation is executed will not depend on any other property here. Whether 50 is here or here or here, no matter, this statement, this comparison is going to happen till we reach the end of the array. So it is not going to depend on any other parameter here. So we need not to go for worst case, best case, average case efficiency of the algorithm. So our general plan for analyzing the non-recursive algorithm will be, the first thing is we need to decide on the parameter which indicates the size of the input. That is the first point. Then second point is we need to identify the basic operation. Even though there are many operations in the algorithm which will be executed maximum number of times, that will become the basic operation of the algorithm, and usually it will be in the innermost loop. That is the second point. The third step we need to take is we need to check whether the number of times the basic operation is executed. The number of times the basic operation is executed will depend only on the size of the input or on some other property of the input. If it depends only on the input, we need not to go for worst case, best case, average case. If it depends on the specifics of the input, then we may have to go for worst case, best case. If necessary, we need to go for average case efficiency of the algorithm. Worst case, best case, average case efficiency of the algorithm. Once this is done, basic operation, the input size is got, we have found the input size, identified the basic operation, we have decided should we go for best case, worst case, average case. Then next one is we need to set up a sum like this. We need to set up a sum which indicates the number of times the basic operation is executed. Once we have able to set up a sum, then we, using the fundamentals of sum manipulation, that is formulas and rules what we have already learned in our schooling, we can deduce this sum to a formula, or at least we can find the order of growth. That is the fifth step. Okay, we will go for two more examples so that this concept will be more clear. Say, if we want to find the unique, whether all the elements in the given array are unique. If this is the case, then how our algorithm will be. Say for example, we need to say that whether all the elements in the given array are distinct. Say we want to develop this algorithm. Assume this. Say in this case, say if this is an array, if when we want to say all the elements are distinct, we need to compare each and every element. So we need to have two for loop, one from the first element, second from the second element. Say for I is equal to 0 to n minus 2, because we are going to stop here, the outer loop, and inner loop, say for j is equal to 1 to n minus 1. We need to check whether a of I is equal to a of j. If so, then we are going to return false, because all the elements will not become distinct if these two are same. Otherwise, we are going to return true. Say here, there are some elements in that. So we have initialized the outer for loop from 0. So a of 0 and a of 1, j is 1 initially. Whether these two are equal? No, they are not equal. Again, j will be incremented. That is 10 and 30 are compared. Again, j is incremented. 10 and 30 are compared. Again, j is incremented. 10 and 40 are compared. Again, j is incremented. 10 and 50 are compared. In the next iteration, I is incremented. Now I is equal to 1, j is equal to 2. These two are compared. No, they are not equal. 20 and 30 are compared. They are not equal. Similarly, no other elements will match. Now again, I is incremented to 2 and j is equal to 3. Now these two elements are same. A of I and A of j are same. So it is going to return false. So we will apply this general plan to analyze this algorithm. What is the first step? We need to identify the size of the input. We need to decide on the parameters which indicates the size of the input. Here there is only one parameter, that is number of elements in the array. Again, the input size is equal to n. Second one is we need to find the basic operation which will be there in the innermost loop. So which is the operation which is there in the innermost loop? That is again comparison. Whether a of I is equal, it is not assignment. You can write like this. That is, it is comparison. Whether a of I is equal to a of j. That is the comparison. So comparison is the basic operation. That is the basic operation. Now, that is second step is over. We need to go for the third step. Third step is whether it depends only on the size of the input, the number of times the basic operation is executed, whether it depends only on the size of the input. See that if these 30 are here, assume this case, in the last two positions, or there are no equal elements, definitely it depends. If 10 and 10 are there initially, then algorithm exists by saying that the first two elements itself are equal and it returns false. So it depends on the specifics of the input. We will be having the best case, that is when the initial two elements are same, then it is the best case. If last two elements are same or there are no equal elements, that will be the worst case. So we are having two different worst cases, and average cases somewhere, if there are something like this, if there are some equal elements somewhere in the array, then that will be the average case. So we will restrict our discussion for only worst case, assuming that there are no equal elements or the last two elements are same, then the number of comparisons we need to go for till end of the array. So we will have C worst of n. That is worst case efficiency. So how many times this basic operation is executed? So one time it will be executed for this j, for every j, and so this will be summation from j is equal to 1 to n minus 1. Okay, and this whole loop will be executed for this every I. So this is summation from I is equal to 0 to n minus 2. So this will be equal to summation from I is equal to 0 to n minus 2. This is n minus 1 minus 1 plus 1. So this will be summation from I is equal to 0 to n minus 2 n minus 1 for every other. So this is, if you make this will become n minus 2 into n minus 1 divided by 2. You can do this, or it will be n minus 1 minus I. Okay. So this will be roughly it is 1 by 2 into n minus 1. N 1 by 2 into n minus n into n minus 1. So there are two n's, so it is roughly 1 by 2 n square. We can say that it is in theta or omega of n square. So don't bother about this part now, but it is of the order of n square. It is of the order of n square. So this is how we can do this. So we have identified the size of the input, then the basic operation, then we have decided we should go for best case, average case, and every worst case efficiency. Just we have decided here we will go for only worst case. Then we have set up the sum. Then we have deduced the sum by using standard rules of mathematics, and we have got a formula so that which will tell the number of times the basic operation is executed. So we have applied all these 5 steps. We can go for one more example. That will be the last example here. We will go for matrix multiplication. Go for matrix multiplication. In matrix multiplication, with a conventional method of finding the product of two matrices of the same order, assume this case. So matrix multiplication will have the two inputs, that is 0 to n minus 1, assume this. There will be two matrices. So if these two are the matrices, then we need to consider some row and column I and j. That will be, we are going to consider every element of row multiplied by the every element of the column, and we get the summation. For that, for I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, for j is equal to 0 to n minus 1, just we will have the product matrix that will be initialized to 0. Then for k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, what we need to do is C of ij, that is the product matrix, A into B. Ij will be equal to C of I comma j plus A of I comma k into B of k comma j, which you have learned in your C programming course. Very simple procedure to find matrix multiplication. Say here, what is the size of the input? By default, order of the matrix, that is n. That is n is the, because we are from 0 to n minus 1 means the order of the matrix, that will indicate the size of the input. So input size is n, and basic operation here. Say here in this one there are two operations. One is addition and other one is multiplication. Assuming that multiplication will take more amount of time on any computer, we can take multiplication as the basic operation. Or if we are able to set up a sum for multiplication, same thing can be used for addition, because the number of additions and multiplications will be same here. Okay, so once we get one sum for any one of the operations, we can multiply it by 2, which will give us the total number of counts for basic operation. So initially we are considering here multiplication as the basic operation. Multiplication as the basic operation. Say if m of n, which indicates the number of times the multiplication is going to happen. Say we need not to go for this third step, because whatever the matrix is, we will go through complete two matrices to find the product of these two. So there will not be any worst case, best case, average case. Okay, so we need not to go for this step. Directly we can go for this step. So this multiplication is going to happen one time for this k, from k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and this loop will be executed for every j. So this will be summation from j is equal to 0 to n minus 1. This loop will be executed for every I. So this will be summation from I is equal to 0 to n minus 1. So this will be, say, if you solve only this part, then this will be I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, summation from j is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Say n minus 1 minus 0 plus 1, that will be n, right? This will be n. So this will be n square, minus 1 n square. So one more time, n, if it is applied, this will be n cube. So the number of times the basic operation is executed will be n cube. This is how we can do mathematical analysis of non-recursive algorithm. Say, only thing is you need to apply these steps for the algorithm. Once you write the algorithm, find the size of the input which is the parameter which indicates the size of the input. Second step is we need to identify the basic operation. Usually it will be there in the innermost loop. Then third step is we need to check whether the number of times the basic operation is executed depends on some specifics of the input. If it does not depends on any other property of the input, then we need not to go for worst case, best case, average case. Otherwise, we need to go for worst case, best case, average case. Then the fourth step is we need to set up a sum which indicates the number of times the basic operation is executed. Just by seeing the algorithm, definitely you can identify it. Then we need to solve that sum using standard formulas and rules of sum manipulation. Thank you.